Welcome back to a new episode. Ben Crypto here. Hope everyone enjoyed their weekend. Got a lot of big news to cover in the crypto space today, including the news that a BTC whale with a very successful track record made a huge purchase over the weekend. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but first, don't forget, if you like what you see, hit the like and subscribe button, and you can also skip around using the timestamps in the description. Let's begin. The markets, how are they doing? So down about 2% in the day, 29,500. This is as expected. Crypto always remains flat or goes down a couple percentage points in the weekend. There was a little pump here on Sunday, surprisingly. It went up from 30,000 to 31,500. It looked like this might extend into the week, give us some positive momentum, but no. The market pulled back, gains were lost. This is what happens in a bear market. The market will go up a little, everyone gets confident, and then for no reason whatsoever, gains will just be given up. Sometimes time is the only thing that gets a bear market out of the bear market phase, and that appears to be where we are at now. In fact, we are now at the longest weekly price losing streak for Bitcoin, 7 consecutive weeks of the BTC price going down. This beats the old record of 6 weeks. So to put that in perspective, show how big that is. So the 6-week previous losing streak record was in 2014. As I told you, the 6 weeks after Mt. Gox, January 20th to March 4th, it went down 6 weeks. So to put that in perspective, Mt. Gox, they controlled 70% of the total exchange trading volumes in 2014. Now, Coinbase was also around then, Bitfinex was around then, Bitstamp was around then, so other exchanges were around that, but Mt. Gox was the dominant player, controlled 70% of the global trading volumes, and it went down instantly in a couple days in mid-January. Withdrawals stopped coming out, and then the website went offline, and then the exchange was done. That happened instantly. I remember it, and that naturally caused a 6-week price losing streak. Now we have beaten that. That is amazing. It just puts in perspective how unusual this 7-week losing streak is. But is it all bad news? Could it mean, we've been on such a long losing streak, it can only turn around and prices can go back up? I think that might be the case. Indeed, Greed and Fear still at 14 in Extreme Fear, but it's up from 9 to 10 over the weekend. And as I discussed in previous episodes, it's not necessarily a bad thing when the Greed and Fear hits the 10 area. So it hits 9, 10, 11 very frequently, about half a dozen times per year. And then in every single case the last year and a half, I think there were 6 times where it hit 9, 10, 11. In every single case, prices either rebounded that day or 3 to 4 days later. And in every single case, it started a multi-month upward trend bull run. So this is really, honestly, great news that the Greed and Fear Index appeared to have bottomed out at 9-10 over the weekend. And some people wonder, just out of curiosity's sake, so has the Greed and Fear ever hit below 9-10? Well, it's only gone below 9 twice. It reached 8 in late March 2020, right after COVID hit. That's expected. It hit 6 in August 2019 when BTC went below the psychologically critically important $10,000 price threshold. So those were kind of one-off events. Studying the price reaction around those events isn't really worth it because those were just one-off black swan events. Now, the Greed and Fear was not around before 2018, so if it was around during the Mt. Gox disaster, it would have hit 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm sure. But it just started in 2018. Moving on to some more bullish news. Benjamin Cohen put out this good video over the weekend. This is the cover story here. So a big whale with a successful track record has been bought a lot on Saturday specifically. So this is a list here. This is the 1,000 richest BTC wallet addresses. These are the wallets that contain the most BTC of any wallets in the world. So like wallet number 3, this is a famous one here. It has about $4 billion worth of BTC. This is the one that was falsely rumored to be Michael Saylor's wallet address a few weeks ago. Nobody knows who owns this wallet. It is not Michael Saylor. It's believed to be maybe an exchange hot wallet, like Coinbase's hot wallet, Binance, maybe Crypto.com's hot wallet. I think that sounds correct because they seem to have a lot of inflows and outflows at random times, not really timed around market tops, market bottoms. They also have just regular once-a-month outflows of exactly 1,500 BTC. So it's kind of irrelevant studying wallet number 3 because if it's a hot wallet, even if there's inflows, you might think they're buying, but really they're just shuffling funds around, so it's not indicative of anything. But this is more relevant here. So wallets number 103 to 114, they're clearly owned by the same person. Every wallet has the exact same amount of BTC in it, 9790. Every wallet trades, which I'll show in a second, at pretty much exactly the same time. So this is one wallet here. The total amount in this wallet is $3.6 billion. That's about 0.6% of the total BTC supply. So this is a mega whale here, this person. And this is relevant because if we look what they're doing, so again, inflows or outflows doesn't necessarily mean they're buying or selling. It could just mean funds are transferring from one wallet to another. But if all the inflows, outflows are around market tops or bottoms, it clearly means that they're trying to time the market top and bottom, and they are buying or selling. They're trading, essentially. So this wallet bought a ton on May 14th, that's Saturday. So they own 12 wallets. So this one of the 12 had bought $47 million. And between the 12 wallets they own on Saturday, they bought $230 million worth of BTC. There were $230 million worth of inflows. But now, here's where it gets interesting. So this person's bullish, that's great, but a lot of whales are bullish. But let's look at the track record of their previous inflows, outflows, / trades. So in 2 times in this wallet's history, they've had large amounts of inflows like they have now. It's late July 2021 and then early December 2018. So in late July 2021, from a 1-week period around July 20th to 27th, all of their 12 wallets had large inflows again, around $150 to $200 million. And then in the first week of December 2018, all of these wallets had even larger inflows. The 12 inflows totaled up to between $300 and $400 million. So they bought big 2 times, late July 2021, early December 2018. So let's see what the market did during those 2 times. Here's 2021 July. They bought it almost the bottom. See, they didn't time it perfectly. They were off by a couple days, but they pretty much got it within a week of the market bottom, and then that's what started right after that, the 3-month bull run from around 35,000 where they bought to the high of 69,000. So they nailed this trade. Now let's look at the other trade, December 2018. Again, they almost nailed it. Again, they weren't perfect. They didn't get to the day, but within, it looks like about 4 or 5 days, a week, they bought it about 3,900, and then 4 or 5 days later, the market turned around and it started this 6-month bull run from 4,000 to about 12,000. So again, they nailed this purchase almost perfectly. So this whale is buying right now. They bought $230 million over the weekend. They nailed their last 2 trades. This is indicative. This is a very bullish sign here. This whale knows what they're doing. They have an accurate track record. The prices are turning around. Moving on, back to Terra. So this was an interesting article that came out on Friday. So it's was it an attack or not? So this is the CTO of Tether. So this guy says, this came out Friday night, he looked at the data, specifically the $280 million worth of instant Luna sells that happened simultaneously that kicked off this whole cascading of selling at negative prices. He's looked at the data, he's very careful with his words, but he definitely thinks it's a concerted attack. That is what he says, that's what he believes. He's very careful with his words, but I mean, this guy's opinion is obviously relevant because if there's no one person on the planet who would have more experience in this matter, was it an attack or not, than this guy right here, CTO of Tether. Tether has been around since 2015. They are $75 billion in market cap, the 3rd biggest coin. They have just been successful year in and year out. In 2017, 2018, all the FUD was with them. People wondering, where are their reserves? Do they have these reserves? Do they not have these reserves? Are they going to blow up? That was all the talk in 2017, 2018. But as every month went by, and they did not blow up, and they kept getting bigger and bigger. People kept putting more and more trust in them, and they are the successful model of a stablecoin that has averted any disaster. It's only a 10-person company, 75 billion market cap, 10 employees. That's crypto for you, but yeah, this is the CTO, and so given how successful he's been in the stablecoins, he would know better than anyone else, and he believes it was an attack. I agree with the guy. I think it was just one of the big crypto funds. Again, it was a crypto fund that has to have between $300 and $400 million to pull it off. They have to be actively trading, not like a passively managed VC. They have to have experience with shorting. That brings it down to a couple funds. I know 2 specifically that have those funds and reputation for shorting. No one's really mentioned them yet. Neither of them are Silicon Valley, but I will be curious to watch. I definitely have my suspicions, but we'll see what plays out there. Do Kwon. So South Korea media is reporting that the guy who showed up at his door and his wife answered. So this guy apparently lost $1.5 million in Luna. 1.5 million USD he lost. So yeah, I think it's probably a good, pretty lucky Do Kwon was not at the door then. I'm sure that conversation would have gone well. It's good this guy actually showed some restraint and just take it out on the wife. Sometimes those whack jobs, just whoever the first person answers the door is, they just go postal. That's lucky. This could have been a lot worse. But yeah, the guy lost big. South Korean media is reporting. Now, what happened to Terra's $3.5 billion reserve? So you've been hearing the last few months Terra was buying a bunch of Bitcoin to protect the peg in the exact disaster situation that happened. They were going to buy $12 billion at the time of the hack. They had bought $3.5 billion. So what happened to the money? Was it used to buy Luna as it was supposed to? And at the time, prices were going down to defend the peg. Well, that has come out. So $1.5 billion was transferred in two separate transactions to Gemini and Binance. Now, you don't know what happened to the money after it goes into the exchange. But, I mean, I think there's a good sign. The presumption is if it's going into the exchange, they're using it to defend the peg, to sell the BTC, buy Luna, and try to prop the price up. So I don't think that's shady at all. They're not just going to be sending it to an exchange, to sell it at fiat. Like, no, they just keep it in Bitcoin if they want to do that. And then what happened to the other $2 billion? Well, no one really knows. I would guess, again, this just seems normal, nothing suspicious, since they noticed the $1.5 billion buying Luna was not working to prop the price up. They probably just gave up and said, okay, well, we're not going to waste $2 million on this when the price is going to go to zero anyway. We might as well keep that money and then keep it to just, continue running the company and see if we can make a comeback after all this disaster is done. So, I mean, I don't think anything's shady about this. The team's been a little quiet on what exactly they did with the money, but I think they just used half of it to unsuccessfully defend the peg and decided to just save the other half and not waste it. CZ, he has said he's supporting the team, but he'd like to see more transparency. He has clarified, so they did invest $3 million in Terra in 2018. They actually turned down the 2021 round. That was interesting. They were in talks. They supposedly were thinking about putting in $300 million. They decided not to, so it shows Binance Labs' investment acumen is actually pretty accurate. Something about this initial investment and their experience working with the team, they just were rubbed the wrong way. Didn't like it. This $3 million was hugely successful. So this $3 million in 2018, it turned into $1.6 billion right before the attack last week, and then it crashed to zero. CZ clarified that they did not sell any, but still, it goes to show not getting in on round two. A very wise move by CZ. But who did get in on the big 2021 round? So let's take a look. I went over this last week, but two of the bigger contributors were Galaxy Digital and Pantera Capital. It looks like, they don't give their exact amounts, it looks like each of them might have contributed around $50 million each, guessing, so not a drop in the bucket, but they're not going to go bankrupt either. So let's take another closer look at Galaxy Digital. So it's run by Mike Novogratz. Familiar with him. He liked the investment so much, he even got a tattoo of Terra here, a tattoo of one. That makes sense. Novogratz would be a good fit with Terra. He used to be an investment banker in Tokyo and Hong Kong in the Goldman Sachs office there for a while, and Terra is a Korean/US company, so it makes sense. So, but yeah, Mike has not had a good week, obviously, because in addition to the Terra debacle, he, right before this happened, about a week and a half ago, it was announced that his firm was going to incur $300 million in losses in Q1 of this year, due strictly just to the downturn of Bitcoin prices in Q1. It's the exact same thing that happened to Michael Saylor about 2 weeks ago with his company MicroStrategy. They lost, I think, about $350 million on the quarter. But it's even worse for Mike Novogratz because he was also invested in Terra, whereas Michael Saylor was not. So Novogratz, he's been a little quiet obviously he's having a bad week, but yeah, he generally posts every day on Twitter. He has not posted since May 8th. Very unlike him. New York media is reporting he stepped down from a charity organization in New York on Friday, Hudson River Park Friends. Just resigned, said it was unrelated. He probably just got to focus on the more important things right now. New York Post is reporting that in not counting the Terra debacle, his net worth in just the market downturn of Q1, his personal net worth went from 8.5 billion to 2.5 billion today. So he was a mega whale before this. Now he's down to 2.5 billion. Of course, if the market turns around, then in 2 weeks he could be back up to $4 or $5 billion. Nonetheless, he's not had a good week, but he has overcome obstacles. To get to the top, you got to take big risks, and you're going to have some downturns, some not good times. He has overcome a lot in his storied career. Let's take a look at it. It's pretty interesting. So he worked for Goldman Sachs, as I said. He was president of their Latin America division, and then he was president's head of fixed income and currencies in Asia. He left Goldman Sachs under apparently not mutual circumstances in 2002 due to, in his own words, partying like a rock star too much. He does like to party. He actually does stint in rehab after that before making a rebound a couple years later with a mainstream global macro hedge fund, Fortress Investments. This is before the crypto days. This was just a regular global macro fund. They were successful for a few years, and then they had to shut down in 2015 due to heavy losses, ironically, poorly placed bets on currencies not crypto-related. Took another few years off, then he came back in 2017 with his crypto fund, Galaxy Digital. And then previously, before that in 2016, he had gotten in early on Ethereum. He was actually roommates with Joe Lubin at Princeton. Joseph Lubin, he is the president of Consensus and an early Ethereum backer, so Novogratz had a huge win by investing early on Ethereum. Galaxy Digital was successful at the start, but then in the market downturn of late 2018, late 2019, he was in the exact same position he's in today. In the first quarter of 2019, his fund lost $270 million. Exact same position they are in today. But he rebounded, the market went up, and then this is a year and a half later at Bitcoin Miami, May 2021. He's all smiles. Bitcoin's at 65,000. His net worth is around 8.5 million. Back on top, but with the ups come the downs, and now he's not in quite as big a position with the $300 million of losses and a large personal position in Luna, but he has overcome this stuff before, and he will overcome it again. That's all for today. Hope everyone enjoyed the episode. I got a lot of good material this week. Tune in every day. You can find me on Twitter, Ben Crypto Show, Ben Crypto. I will catch everyone tomorrow. Later.